Hey guys, what's going on? It's Broken Nose Vlogs here. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do for my first video after I had made the intro to this new channel. The weather kind of helped me out though. It's been a little bit hotter than normal. I guess we're in a heat wave right now where I live. And it got me thinking about summer, because summer is on its way as well. We're only in May right now, so it's just around the corner. When summer hits and it gets really hot, like in the 90s and above, I tend not to use my blue PC behind me, which we've done quite a few videos on. It doesn't get like super hot, but like any additional generated heat is unwelcome heat when you're in a heat wave. So I tend to have a smaller alternate setup that consists of my MSI laptop, which I've done a couple bits on. I think one of the videos we did was comparing it between the Alienware Alpha R2 and the MSI laptop, which, spoiler alert, I still have the Alpha R2. I know I was kind of critical of it recently. I did take a look at some comments, and I did do some things to the Alienware in hopes that maybe we can get a little bit better results out of it. So I will probably do a video on that later. But that's not what this video is about. So this video is about my rig that I use when summer comes around. It's my MSI laptop. Now the downside is I've had it for, I think, going on like 5 years almost now. It's not an incredibly powerful system. It is a Core i5-10500H and a GTX 1650 mobile, which is 4 gigabytes of VRAM. I've done some upgrades to it. It has 32 gigabytes of RAM, has a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, as well as a 1 terabyte SSD. That's a 2.5 inch. It has a tray for that. So like, it's got, you know, okay specs, but it's only got one cooling fan. And it's one of those little turbo fans that spool up to, you know, thousands of RPMs and are kind of loud. And it hasn't been an issue, but as the laptop has aged, I have dismantled it a few times, obviously, and I've tried a couple different thermal pastes. I know a lot of people are going to say that thermal paste doesn't make a difference. They should all do the same thing. And I'll agree to a certain extent. The last thermal paste that I used pumped out really fast, so suddenly my laptop was at like 90 plus, just doing real basic things, or maybe downloading an update or something, and I was confused. I was like, why is it so hot? Well, I cracked it back open and I noticed that the thermal paste had basically, you know, spilled out the sides. It had ran out, and it felt real runny compared to when I put it on there. So my last thing that I did to it was I got some Thermal Grizzly Duronaut, which apparently is good at resisting pump out, and that helped a little bit. There is one other tool that I use when it comes to my MSI laptop, and that tool is this thing right here. This is just like a laptop cooling tray that I bought at Micro Center. It's not too exciting. It's got, I believe it's 5 fans. We'll fire it up here on a power pack really quick, and it should show us. There we go. And this is another thing that people talk about a lot, is do these laptop cooling pads actually make a difference? So I thought, hey, let's play around with this and see if I do get better temperatures using a laptop cooling pad, or if it works just fine on my desk. The reason being is I have read a few reports or comments about a different style cooling pad. It's made by a couple different companies, but a designer model currently is done by Razer, where it's got like a giant fan in the middle, and it's got like sealing foam to like hold like a slight sort of seal around the laptop so air strictly goes in, versus this one where it's just a mesh and, you know, the air gets pushed up. It may or may not go inside the laptop. And I was gonna get the Razer one, but it's like $150 and it requires Synapse, so I kind of put it on the back burner for a while until I found from another company that I've used before and I have made mention of before, and that is our friends at Redragon. Redragon has made a laptop cooling tray slash stand that's very similar to the Razer one, which is also a copy of several other popular brands out there. And I went ahead and I picked it up. And here is that laptop cooling fan. It is the Redragon WINDSEEKER Turbo Fan Laptop Cooler. Now, as a former ride operator, when I think or see the name WINDSEEKER, I don't think of anything really good. But this particular model has all the features that I talk about. It has that ceiling foam. It has a large, I believe it's a 15 centimeter cooling fan. It even has some other niceties like a phone holder. But I'm fairly curious of a few things. How does this perform compared to my regular one that I bought at Micro Center in terms of cooling, performance, and most importantly, probably loudness? Because that is one thing I noticed on the Razer model, is the fan is very loud. So some people were saying they were having a hard time using it unless they were using gaming headphones, which, if that's the case, doesn't make it that great for if you're trying to play games on it and, you know, record or something like that. So I decided to go with this entry-level model. It's about $60, which is about half of what the Razer version is. I think the Razer version started at $150. The price might be different now. This is a much more palatable price. Now, what do we give up when it comes to the features or performance, since we're at that sort of lower price point? Well, I'm going to find out. We're going to go ahead and test this thing out and see how it does. I haven't even opened this thing. It's been sitting for a couple days, and I had just been waiting for time to go ahead and make this. So we'll go ahead and we'll crack this open and we'll take a look at it. Alright, so it looks like we open from the bottom. So we'll go ahead and open this up and we'll take a look at it, and it will... alright. So let's go ahead and we'll take this out. I will say it's packaged fairly nicely. There's a lot of supporting foam inside of here. This is very interesting. This is slightly different than what I was expecting, because I know like the Razer version almost is kind of just like foam and you have the fan. This almost has like a fan guard or shield, so I'm very curious about that. We'll go ahead and we'll take this out. Oh boy, this is slightly bigger than the other ones. Okay, interesting. So we'll take a look at that. You also get some cool Redragon stickers if that's your thing. You get a user manual. I believe it also comes with a cable, I'm sure. But let's go ahead and we'll unwrap it and we'll take a look at it a little bit more in depth. Alright, so I have it taken apart a little bit more here. One of the things I noticed is there's sort of like a fan grill protector accessory on the back. It says to remove that before use. Also, the foam gasket is not installed or like permanently attached to the particular cooling pad here, so it looks like it is removable. I mean, maybe it's so it can be washed, or it can just protect it from damage. I guess that's kind of a positive. I'm kind of 50-50 on that, to be honest, because yes, I'm glad that I can take it off in case I put it somewhere that it can get damaged, but I also have to make sure I don't lose it. So for the absent-minded such as myself, that is not exactly my favorite thing to hear or see when I have a secondary accessory that I can lose. Alright, so I went ahead and I removed the accessory. It also has shown me here that your USB cable is built in, which is kind of nice. I will say on the one that I bought from Micro Center, it's its own USB-A to USB-A cable. And again, it's kind of that same thing when I think about the foam gasket, where it's nice that you can remove it and store it, but if I lose it, USB-A to USB-A is not a very common cable, so I want to make sure I don't lose it. Also, the one that's included is rather short, so that's another downside about it. This particular cable is USB-C, which I have a USB-C port and I don't really use it for anything, so it's not the end of the world. And then looking at the fan, it is actually pretty well protected. There is fan guards on the back here, and then also I've actually looked on the inside. It's probably really hard to see, but I can put my finger in here and there's fan guards in here too. So this particular cooling fan is the same style like fan that I'm kind of thinking of. It's like a big version of what my Red Magic phone has for a cooling fan. It's this like kind of shark finned thing, and it spins. So it's a turbo fan, so I'm assuming it's probably going to be fairly loud, but I'm very curious to see how this does. The only other features I noticed on here is our cell phone holder actually is in the bottom, so you can remove it if you are, yes, if you were smarter than it. So there's a cell phone holder, which I'm pretty sure will fit my Red Magic. It most certainly will. So that's cool. And if we look at the controls on the front, there are a couple different things. There's numbers 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then there's a light bulb. I'm assuming that is probably for the fan speeds and the lighting. And then there are also 2 pegs, and these probably serve the purpose of the feet, making sure your laptop doesn't fall down. So, kind of interesting. It's a little bit thicker than I was expecting, and there's also just a small RGB strip right up in the front here. It does look like you have different settings for the, you do have different settings. So you have different settings for the height, it looks like. Yes, there are feet that you can prop up, and that will let it plug in to different heights. Okay, which is probably how it will get its air from the bottom. Like I said though, this is pretty big. I'm really surprised. It's pretty chunky. I mean, compared to, like, yes, this is big as well, but like if I want to put it up, it's just got those like keyboard style feet that pop up here, and it doesn't feel as bulky. I don't know what else to say. This feels a lot bulkier, even though theoretically putting them down side by side to each other, the Redragon is actually smaller. It just feels chunkier. But we'll see how that comes into play. I'm probably going to leave it at the lowest height setting right now. I don't see a point in having it any higher than that. Actually, that doesn't really make it all that much taller. Okay, so I guess we'll just leave it at that then. We'll leave it at the highest point. I really thought that that would make a bigger difference. Let's go ahead and we'll put the foam gasket on here, which there is a small ring, and you just kind of set it in place. Cool, and we'll go ahead and we'll connect our cell phone holder, and that goes in. You can, I believe, put it on the left or the right, so it depends on what's better for you. I will put it on the right hand side for now, and that will let our Red Magic kind of sit right there, which is kind of neat. But I do want to see what it sounds like before we put our laptop on it, because I'm just curious about how loud it's going to sound, and I also want to see what the controls do. So I'm going to set that up really quick. My power bank has USB-C on it, so I can just plug a USB-C in here and it should turn on. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. Alright, so I have it plugged into my power bank here for the time being. The lights have not really done anything. They're just blinking. There's some control, the control buttons look like they're backlit. They are backlit. If I press that, okay, it turns it into rainbow mode. Or you can turn it off. Those are the 2 options for your RGB lighting. There is a rainbow sort of effect, or it doesn't run at all. So 0, I'm assuming, yeah, 0 doesn't do anything. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit 1. Okay. I do feel quite a bit of air coming out of here on level 1. It's not terribly loud, but it is, the lowest setting on here is definitely louder than the highest setting on my one that I bought from Micro Center. So let's go ahead, we'll jump up to setting 2. Definitely louder. You might hear this at this point on the, you might hear this on the recording at this point. And then we'll go ahead and fire it up to 3, and again, you definitely feel the air coming out. It comes out in like 2 real localized places, at the very bottom or at the very top. You do get some out the side, but not nearly as much as I feel coming out of the top and the bottom. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit setting 3, which is the highest setting. and it is cranking. That sounds like a jet fighter. That's pretty loud. Like personally, I don't think I would use it at setting 3. I'm gonna place my laptop on top of it and just see if that baffles any of the sound. So let's go ahead. Okay, you know what? Putting your laptop on here does help quite a bit with the sound. It's still pretty loud. So I have it plugged into the laptop now. I'm going to go ahead and fire the laptop up. And I'll put it on setting 1. Again, not too bad. I'm going to bump it up to setting 2 now. Setting 2 is a little loud. Louder than what my Micro Center one is like. Setting 3 is pretty darn loud. Like, I don't think I would be able to record anything having this laptop cooler run this way. I'll put it on setting 2. I'll do middle of the road. But what I'm gonna do now is I've basically done some temperature baselines using no cooler, the Micro Center cooler, and now I'm gonna do a baseline using the Redragon cooler. All I do is I use Cinebench and just see what the temps are at and see if it's noticeable or negligible. And then I'll put all the temperatures up on the screen and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So after doing some Cinebench testing there, I got some data collected and I have the temperatures and I'll put them all up on the screen. The interesting thing to me at least is this Redragon cooler does not perform any significantly better than the one that I bought at Micro Center. So for all the claims that these particular coolers are more powerful or do a better job than our more lower priced basic models that just use, you know, case fans, for this Redragon model at least does not seem to be the case. The only real things that I like about this is you have your cell phone holder. It is a little bit elevated, so for me, for this particular setup, because this is my mobile desk, which is literally just a really big TV tray, that will be useful for me because I can, you know, don't have to put my hands so low. That helps me out. So like ergonomically, it is a little bit nicer than the one that I have from Micro Center, but it's not like worth spending literally twice as much. This was $60. The Micro Center one was only $30 at the time of me purchasing it. I don't know if they still have it there or not, but just to keep that in mind, I'm sure you can find a similar one on Amazon as well. So the TLDR on this is probably, if you buy one of these, don't expect it to be heads and shoulders above the rest of those laptop coolers that use the case fans in a 4 or 5 fan sort of pattern. It's slightly better, but you're probably getting it more for the ergonomics, in my opinion, and having accessories like the phone holder on the side. I didn't see enough of a performance difference when it came to this versus the other one I own to say, hey, make sure you get one of these. But like I said, this was kind of a fun experiment, and I hope you guys enjoyed. This is more of the stuff that we're going to have on this channel, is just more vlogs. We'll talk about tech and just other stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until I see you in the next one, take it easy. Bye-bye.